Kids being called dirtbags after their latest shenanigans. Grandpa Joe finally acknowledging his 7th grandchild, but only after getting the green light from his crooked son.
I have 7 grandkids, 4 of them, 5 of them old enough to talk on the phone. You know, every day I either text them or call them.
Joe now even wants to meet Little Navy for the first time. Unsurprisingly, the change of heart's only political. NBC reporting Hunter agreed to allow Joe to speak out, quote, in part because he told his father it would help negate a Republican line of attack. This comes after a new report revealed Hunter Biden allegedly left his 25 grand a month California rental in shambles and even skipped out on rent. Okay, Greg.
Yes.
I'm wondering if this is the White House leaking this to make it look like, oh yeah, I would have talked to Navy, you know, when she was a toddler, but Hunter wouldn't let me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the good news is now, you know, now that they can talk on the phone, they can participate in meetings.
Right.
So that's good. This is the grossest, most entitled bunch of lowlifes under one roof. If you ever had renters or subletters, who does that? It's a reflection of their character. There are 2 kinds of renters, and because I had a sublet when I lived abroad. There are people who appreciate and respect your property, and then there's the opposite. And the opposite are entitled scumbags. And I'm starting to think that this grandkid should not want the Biden last name. Because what's it going to stand for? Corruption, abuse, entitlement, and ultimately criminality when they're behind bars. Lock them up.
Dana Perino.
So I think that Hunter saying that it would blunt Republican attacks is missing the point, that the reason that this happened was after Maureen Dowd of the New York Times put out a column that said it's 7 children, Mr. President. And that was why. We've been talking about it for months.
Yeah.
Nobody cared what Republicans were saying.
No politicians were talking about it.
This was making the Democrats uncomfortable. It was making the press secretary uncomfortable. And I can't imagine having to treat Hunter Biden with such kid gloves all the time. Like, oh, is it okay? Sir, Hunter, can I walk this way? Can I walk by you here? Like, what is going on?
I would definitely wear gloves.
Yeah, you got a point.
Harold, the politics of this, it looks kind of sleazy.
I'm going to show sometimes what people should do when they agree with somebody fooling another party. You were exactly right. I would add one thing. That was Maureen Dowd's sister.
Yeah. But Maureen Dowd decided to put it in her column in the New York Times.
And that sister is a huge supporter.
Oh, she is a big supporter of Biden.
Of Joe Biden. So that, just to add to your point, and I yield the rest of my time to the Fox News Sunday.
How dare you agree with me?
He's yielding time.
I think it's great if he's going to have a relationship with this little girl, because he really does seem to feel very invested in these relationships. And there was that sad article a few weeks ago that talked about she knows who her grandfather is, and her mom encourages her to be proud of him and to be excited about the fact that he's the president. So I think it would be sweet if they could develop a real relationship. But this idea of he was deferring...
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it would be sweet if that could work. But this idea that we were just deferring to Hunter, well, then the next question is like, well, what else are you deferring to Hunter on? You know people are going to ask that as a follow-up.
Like the ethical questions.
Maybe.
All right.